We're at 6 p.m. I have Councilor DeFlorio.
Here.
I have Councilor Napolitano. Here. I have Councilor Capone.
Yep.
We have 3 members present. We do have a quorum.
3 members present. We do have a quorum. Please stand and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right.
Clerk, please read the first order of business.
First piece of business. This is a resolution offered by Councilors Matusky and Simonelli that Vito's Auto Repair correct its operation.
We have the, I guess, the individuals from Vito's Auto Repair here. If it's present.
We'd also could have the city clerk.
Oh, sure. We have the city
All in
clerk
favor?
first as well. Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
They're going to want you to just announce who you are.
If you could please just update,
He's just going to say who he is first. And
okay. Yeah.
Yes, my name is Ali Hamadi. I am the owner of Continental Car Care Center and the owner of 142 Ferry Street.
Okay. So if you could, between you and the clerk, could you please update the councilors on what's been going on?
Yes, I will. At the present time, as we speak today, my attorney, Alfred Farisi, is on vacation, and the case was supposed to go to trial in the 9 of this month. It was continuing without my knowledge. And I did ask my attorney, why did you continue the case in Malden District Court? His answer was the other attorney is on trial from the other party who been hired by the defendant, which is Vito. And Vito up to today, and since he has been last time in the council office here, he has not paid the rent, beside some damages I have. So I have an eviction process against him going on, and the case been continued 3 times without my consent. And I was on vacation the months before. I did go for 10. I did go for 10 days, but my son, who was co-owner with me and the property, was available to come here, but the case was continued also.
Okay. Any questions, councilors? Councilor Capone?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Through you to our guest. So, do you have a formal date that it's set up for now? For a
Yes,
hearing?
I do have.
What is that?
It is on Thursday.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yeah, in 2 days, in 3 days.
Okay, so that's still going on. I see that we have the little note here, what's going on. Mr. Clerk, do you have anything you want to add, or?
Same as before. I've been going by as much as I can during the day, a little bit on the weekends. The neighbor, I don't want to use names.
Yep.
So the neighbor has been contacting us a few
Okay.
times. She did come in last Wednesday or Thursday to leave a letter, which Mr. Burley has. If you'd like her to,
Okay.
you'd like him to read it, she did ask if we wanted to read it, or at least to give it to the members. A few things have been corrected, as she notes in there, and I would agree. The issues of parking on the street has definitely corrected. There's,
Okay.
on Villa Ave. She's still stating, and then some of the neighbors are stating, there's parking in front of the bays, and there is and there isn't. Again, there's not much parking if you're not going to be able to use the street and not allow them to park in front of their bays. I mean, it does leave them with limited solutions. So I'm trying to be as fair as I can to the neighbors and still allow a business to do their business,
yeah.
you know? I mean, so it's a balancing act, and I understand her point, and I do understand the business point. I mean, they both have a gripe.
Sure.
In some ways. But the neighbors do have a gripe with some of the operations and things that happened in the past. A lot of it has been corrected that I notice. I also don't live there, so
Sure.
I don't see everything all day.
Right. So when you've gone out there and you've looked, is there anything that you see that still needs to be
Yeah, I
addressed?
mean, definitely the parking in front of the garage is the biggest thing.
Okay.
But I have noticed it less with vehicles that are like totally torn apart for long periods of time. That was
Okay.
my request.
Okay.
You know, it's a tough situation. You got to pull in a car. I worked in a body shop, so you're always moving cars in and out. And if you can't park on Villa Ave, and there's no parking on really Ferry Street, there's almost no spots there,
Sure.
and it's only one-sided, they have to move their car somewhere to kind of move it around.
Okay.
Generally. They do have a small side yard, but they're also, according to their rules, not allowed to park within 10 feet of the fence. So, I mean, we keep,
Boxing them in.
boxing them in a
Little by
little bit, so
little, yeah.
I'm just trying to be as fair as I can to everybody. With that being said, they could be, the tenants could be a little bit better neighbors at times, you know, and I told you my first meeting with them
Sure.
was not good. But they've gotten better, they've worked on that, and
Okay.
I've seen an improvement generally. I haven't noticed the Sunday operation late, but she, you know, the neighbor has still stated that she's noticed it. I will continue to monitor it and try to see. I guess he's starting a little later and then going on a little later, but I
Okay.
mean, instead
So
of
it's kinda
closing at
staggered,
noon, he's
yeah.
closing at 2.
Okay.
But he's not starting at 8, he's starting at 10, so I mean, I don't know where we
Alright.
got to nitpick and where we want to
Okay.
fight on certain things and where we don't, you know?
no, and I appreciate your efforts. And Mr. Hamadi, so you have your case going forward. This is a long-standing issue. The neighborhood's been upset about a lot of stuff. In large part, this is, you know, a private transaction situation between you and your tenant. So our concern is how it impacts the neighborhood. And you've got your court date set for Thursday.
Yes.
In this notice I have, it looks like we might have a March 11th date available to postpone this and get an update at that point. Are you available on the 11th of March, do you know?
Yes, I am.
Okay, all right. I don't have any other questions, and I'll yield the floor to my colleagues, but I think that because of what's going forth in the court on Thursday, and the fact that the parties are still trying to work things out, and there are still some issues, I think we need to reschedule this for the 11th, but I'll make that motion afterward.
I need that copy. I don't have one.
Yes. Sorry, she only gave it to me the other day, so
Yes.
I'll make sure.
Who gave it to you? Sorry. It's Rita?
Yeah, I
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Maybe Mr. Mangan can make me an
Yes.
extra copy for the.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
I would,
I-
yes, sir.
all right, I'm a new member of this committee, but again, I was following a lot of what was going on last year.
Thank you, sir.
And I guess part of my question may have already been answered, but my concerns are, is the tenant still being arrogant and antagonistic with the neighborhood?
That's good.
Well, that's a great question, yeah, so according to Ms. McCauley, the neighbor, sorry, she's been up a few times anyway, so. Yes, the neighbors have said it's ceased a little bit. I think it's more with the neighbor directly next door. They tend to have some banter back and forth, and I'm not there to say who starts it and who doesn't, and whether one is right or wrong, but yes, I mean, I believe, and it's more the employees that were arguing with the neighbors in general. And they had issues with speeding up and down the street. So that seems to cease. I do, just so you know, I have asked the police department to monitor it, and they have been monitoring it, especially late at night when I'm not there. So they're checking on the place, making sure there's no issues, there's no speeding cars or parking on the street. So there's been improvements on certain things, and I guess from, again, not from my knowledge, except for the parking out front, the hours of operations, I guess, is one of the biggest gripes from the neighborhood.
Really concerned, I've run into this in other businesses and other issues in the past. The owner of the business is aware that he is responsible for anything even coming out of his employees' mouths to residents who live there.
Oh, yeah, well, I explained it to him, and the police officer explained it to him that was with. I mean, we made it very clear. And, I mean, after that, I haven't seen it with me. He hasn't been rude, but then again, the neighbors, a few of the neighbors have definitely said that, you know, they've had issues with them going forward. I think Mr. Hamadi has also stated that he has some of those same issues with his tenants.
And the court case, Mr. Randy, is to get him out or to get him to comply and rent, or how is that? What is the court case involved?
Well, I want to go specifically with you about what's going on. I have a written agreement between me and him. I do own a taxi company, which consists of 4 taxi cabs. And he's supposed to service my cab in the garage free of labor, parts on me. He has not done that. That's a breach of contract. And I did spend more than $15,000 for the last 6 months, labor only, repairing my cab and my private cars. This is first. And second, he has not, when I mentioned last time that he has not paid the rent, he called me liar in this room. I think everybody heard it. He has not paid the rent since he was here. So, beside what's going on between him and the neighbor, I did send him a couple notice of eviction prior to the complaint of Rita McCarthy. And so it's, I haven't been there in the garage so often, and he did break into my garage twice. In the lease, I have the second floor office to keep with me. I have it in the lease, and the basement to keep with me. He did broke into both, and I did call the police, and I have 2 police report on that. I have them recorded, and I have some stuff missing from the basement, which I have not tell anybody, and the case been continuing from the court for several times. I don't know why. I haven't got chance to work it out with him, even in the court. But I've been asked several times to keep him there. I refused more than 3 times through my attorney and himself. I did refuse. I don't know how the city council feel. I don't know. I don't like him. I don't want him there. But I have lost more than $30,000-$40,000 already in the garage. I do have them on record, everything. Rent, repairing my taxi cab outside, and also damage. I do have damages. The
So
sign.
these are all making a case to be able to get him out.
I
Yes.
think the end
Yes.
result is he's trying to evict him.
That's what I thought the case was, but I just, again, want to get
Yes.
some clarification.
Fred,
Yeah, and I will keep you updated what's going on,
the tenant.
even prior to the hearing. I don't know how the court will
So if you
feel
wanna make that motion.
if I can work something out, the city council, how they feel if I can work something out with them, which I am up to today, I'm refusing. Even my own attorney talked to me. I wasn't happy with them. Plus, they did insult my neighbor. They did, the old lady next to the garage, which I wasn't happy with that. You don't talk with the old lady like that who burned that house. I wasn't happy, to be honest with you, and I don't know what to say.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it. I'll, in a second, Councilman Capone's motion.
On the motion, wait a minute, Council.
Is there anyone here from the tenant?
Is
Mr.
there
Cologne,
anybody
or
here
the neighborhood?
representing Mr. Cologne? Are you here to, what are you here for, ma'am? Okay. And are you here to represent him? Yes. So, Council, there
This
is.
is the tenant.
This is the tenant, yeah.
A representative of the tenant.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Right,
Well, you know what, then? It's up to this body, but I don't really think we need to hear anything because it's postponing.
Yeah.
So what was the motion, Counselor?
Well, we can excuse with the customary thanks first?
Yeah, excuse, thank you.
That's okay, take your time.
Okay. Motion would be to postpone this matter to the 11th of March, invite all the parties, representatives from the neighborhood, whoever we had on record, the property owner, and the owner of the shop, Mr. Cologne.
So this will be postponed on 3/11 at this committee,
Correct.
is that correct?
Yeah,
And
back
invite
in
all the
committee.
neighbors, the property owner, and the tenant.
Whoever the contact.
Well, whoever the
members are.
contacts are, yes.
Because at that point, we're going to need to hear from everybody. Because
I
at
think we
that
should
point,
also invite the city solicitor at that point, because this has been going back and forth way too long.
Well, I mean, yeah, once we have them in here, because we're going to have to determine what we're going to do.
Right.
A large part of this is private, as you know, private contractual issues. But our concern from the city side is the impact on the neighborhood. That's really all we're concerned about.
Right,
And I
and
don't
whatever
know what
happens
they're gonna
between a
work out. Yeah.
tenant, I've said this before, and I'll say
Exactly.
it again.
That's-
Whatever happens between a tenant and a landlord is
Yeah.
not our business up
Yeah.
here. Unfortunately, I know that sounds mean, we don't want to be rude in any way, so my recommendation is that we have the city solicitor up here and have advice from the city solicitor what we should do at that point.
Sure, it's probably the right time to do it, so,
Point, please.
We're going to postpone this until March 11th.
Thank you, thank
So
you.
March 11th, you're all welcome to come back up here.
Yes,
Okay, by that time, you should have gone to court. We're gonna find out what the outcome
Yes.
And then if we're gonna agree with the city solicitor, what the right thing to do is at that point.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Also, just for the record, everybody does have a communication from Rita McCauley.
Okay,
Yes, we do.
I do.
So
So I'll
all
make
in
that in a
favor of
form
that
of
motion?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Clerk will read item number 2.
Item number 2 is a petition offered by Council Richard Delasola as president, that the Everett City Council hereby approves a new Class 2 motor vehicle dealer license for M. Falcon Auto at 47 Mystic.
Is the petition here?
Is the petitioner here?
Both the petitioner and the landlord are here.
Okay, if you could please
They were both invited.
come up. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. And please speak into the mic and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Angelo Fernandez. We're talking about the 47 Mystic Street.
Rocco Vigorito, and the address for the petition is 4547 Mystic Street. What was it? 4547 Mystic Street.
Counsel Capone.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Through you to our guests, if you could just give us an overview of exactly what you're looking to do?
Sure. So, this
Please,
is a...
Rocco, I'm sorry. Please speak into
Yes.
the, I'm sorry I called you
Sorry
Rocco,
about
but
that.
I know him, so.
So this is a facility, it's a yard that has a Class 2 motor vehicle license. Most of the sales are internet sales these days, so traffic is limited. However, it was rented to a previous tenant for 4 or 5 years, still having a license. However, the tenant is no longer there as of last June. But the license was never renewed as well, but it does exist still to the property. The only thing that is changing in this situation is just the tenant's name. Everything else stays the same. So we're trying to have the new tenant apply for the license so that it's legitimate.
Okay. Any-
All paperwork's in order.
Okay.
I've never had any issues with Mr. Vigorito or any of his tenants at that location since I've been either the assistant or city clerk. It's become more of an industrious type of area now. There's no more residences really in that area.
No one.
It doesn't have an effect on the neighborhood, an adverse effect, I would say. There are other body shops, I think Mr. Vigorito has one or two himself in somewhere in that vicinity.
Yes.
So it's fit for this business as right. It's an existing business, just changing licensees.
Okay.
So, I mean, for me, it's almost a renewal without
Okay.
the same person, that's all.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You're very
Clerk.
welcome.
Quick question to the tenant. Have you had any experience in this industry before, or is this the first time you're doing this kind of
Yes,
business?
but not in U.S.
Okay.
That's my first time in U.S., but
Okay.
it always worked out well.
How long have you been involved with this type of business?
For 5 years.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
The only thing, what happens is we're going to vote on this now, and then it goes to the 7 o'clock meeting, okay? As the clerk said, there's no houses around, so there's nothing to bother anybody, or the hours are still the same, nothing has changed. Is that correct? Okay.
Everything is the same.
Okay, so if there are no further questions, excuse with the customary thanks, and councilors,
Thank you.
Thank you.
so the motion is to report it out favorable, all in, whatever restrictions are on the license. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Make a adjourn, all in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it, you have adjourned.
You're welcome.